If you looked at it in the 1860 in the United States, the major occupations in the United States were you were either a farm worker, and the second most important was you worked as a maid or a servant or something in somebody's house. By 1900, in 40 years, that had changed dramatically, and people were in factories, working in factories. They were industrial workers. For rural areas had been depopulated. The cities experienced a huge boom in growth, and that caused all sorts of problems. There was the Gilded Age, too much money, too many immigrants, anti-immigrant stuff. The Democratic Party platform of 1896 says we got to prohibit pauper labor from coming in. So all of that's happening in the same sorts of way. Too much wealth, too much inequality, all the same sorts of issues were present. But by 1950, if you looked out that world today, across the industrial world, Europe, United States, et cetera, those people that were in industrial jobs had good jobs, they had reasonable wages, they had unemployment compensation, they had health care, they had pensions, and then sort of beginning in the 1970s, automation began to take those jobs away. Then, of course, the supply chain management, people began to look for the lowest producer. Those jobs went away. And the equilibrium in the 1950s all across the world was sort of left parties that were pro-labor and right parties, varying degrees, that were anti-labor. And it could be multiple party systems like in Italy or in France, or it could be in Germany where there's a left party, CDU, a right party rather, CDU, a left party, SDP, and the FDP in the middle, balancing them out, turning politics one way or the other. Or in the United States, it's the Democrats, the left party, and the Republican. But it was stable. But now that's not, that stability's gone. It's hard to find, to put a political party together that's as stable as they were in the 50s. And that's because as the jobs leave, tensions change. And it turns out that the result of that is that it causes political instability, not just here, but Brexit, the British leaving the EU, France, the rise of the National Front, or even the new guy who's come in, he's not a traditional candidate. So instead of left-right, you're getting a lot of center-periphery stuff in the voting, which is kind of what you got in the United States. So yeah, these are unstable times, and I think globalization has generated most of the instability, and nobody has yet figured out the right political or economic solution. And just as in the 1880s, 1890s, immigration is an issue that comes to the fore. It creates wealth inequality. So I think it's Robert Downey, and there's some movies called The Iron Man or something. My grandchildren watch that stuff. So he straps on some stuff and flies around, saves the world, right? Well, whatever the last Iron Man was, he made $80 million. And that's because 320 million people around the world actually paid whatever they paid, and he got a quarter for each time. That's 80 million bucks. So imagine you're the best carpenter or the best plumber in Palo Alto, California. There's no way you can come anywhere close to that. So when you create world markets, there are bigger winners, bigger losers. So inequality comes in, you got to deal with it, but it's not easy to solve. It's not easy to solve. And the final problem with it all is, of course, that you can say, God, this globalization has been a wonderful thing. It's brought billions of people out of poverty around the world, and it has. 600 million Chinese are less poor today than they were 30 years ago. But it's hard to run for president of the United States based on, boy, this policy was great for China, but that doesn't win votes. So you still have kind of this global system and local politics. If you look at the world today, what's happening is that we're always thinking about a political solution, but at the same time that's happening, the world of finance and money and business is making decisions. They're not waiting till the US and France and Germany and so on get their act together. They are, as we speak, people making decisions about where X is going to be produced, where's Y. The movement of capital is determining things. So it may be, again, that business moves in these ways, and you either get on board or you don't get on board.